Marty Mart shoppers? We're back again to go over some movie news with you guys. Basically, I'm super deep in on movie news, and I read it all the time because we review films over on this channel. You should check some of those out, by the way. And because we do film reviews, I'm always trying to stay up to date on what's going on with film fan culture and what's like the big stories out right now. And since I'm so deep, sometimes I like to pull aside some friends and tell them about what's going on in the world of film and television and just get their honest reaction. So with me, I have Zane and Fran. How's it going, Fran?
It's good.
Okay, that's great.
Is it?
And today, we're talking about a new possible live-action Death Note series. This comes to us from Joe Blow. Netflix is shifting gears and moving ahead with a live-action series adaptation of Death Note that will be produced by the Duffer Brothers. If you don't know the Duffer Brothers, they're the creators of Stranger Things. Their show just crashed Netflix, so clearly Netflix is leaning into them a bit. Obviously, the creators of the service's hit series Stranger Things, like I just said, the Duffer Brothers will be producing Death Note through their newly formed company, Upside Down Pictures. They add that the Duffer Brothers Death Note series will be an entirely new take that is not at all connected to the Wingard feature nor the specific story from the anime and manga.
But what was wrong with the first one? The first live action?
Yeah, like how can they top that? That's fucked up.
Yeah, it was pure cinema.
Why mess with perfection? Come on.
It's just,
Guys, let me just speak before we start just jumping down the throat of the original Death Note film, okay? Let's give it a moment. Let's let it breathe a little bit. First, I just want to talk about the cultural zeitgeist moment that is Stranger Things. Obviously, it's a great choice for Netflix to give them more producing power, have them work on more shows, because there has not been a show more dynamite in the world of streaming this year than Stranger Things. It is ruling everything pop culture, and it personally ruined Doja Cat's life, but that's besides the point. So and maybe we'll get into that through this conversation, I don't know, but I am excited for the idea of, like, if you're familiar with the Death Note series, it's about a young man who's a bit of a fucking psycho, in my opinion, who comes across this magical notebook where if you write someone's name in it, they die, and it's through the power of a Shinigami, otherwise known as a death god. And there was a live action series, and as you can tell from our couch, it might have been a bit of a mixed response from it. Mixed being bad and worse.
Yeah.
So guys, you hear this news. First off, are you psyched that the Duffer Brothers are just making more content? As well as I've heard a Stranger Things spinoff, so very excited for that. Also, are you excited to see more anime live action adaptations, or are you just like, I'd rather have a staple in the dick? I don't know.
so I know that you're Death Note obsessed, right?
Yeah, I definitely, like, that was one of the animes that, like, got me into anime.
I know, it's one of the first ones I showed you. One of the ones that could break through. I think a lot of it's very much an adult, like, thriller anime. It's not really meant for kids. There is no, like, very memey moments, I guess you could say.
I like the idea of them doing the whole, like, it not being based on, like, Light Story or whatever, or trying to retell
according to this report. We could find out different things, but we know for a fact, for sure, it's not connected.
But the whole Death
Note, the original,
the whole Death
film.
Note, like, premise just seems like it's such a anthology. Like, it leans itself so well to anthology, because they talk about how it's like, oh, every time Shinigami get bored, sometimes we drop our Death Note, let it create a little bit of chaos in the world. And it's like, that's something that I'd love to. I would.
Yeah,
love
what I'm looking for,
there hasn't been something like this.
Maybe there has been in book-wise. I don't know exactly all the literature that follows Death Note as a franchise, but I know that obviously all the live-action films that have been made up to this point have been based on the first book, the first books, and of course the manga and in the anime. And so it's interesting to see them go a different route with it. And I'm excited to see maybe like a Black Mirror-esque Death Note. Like, let's just get some more throwaway anthology-esque stories. I think that could be a really cool creation. Not to mention the different ways that you can create Death God, the different looking ones you could make, the different reasons that they might be dropping their Death Note,
Yeah.
Not to mention, what if we have, like just making basically a pitch here, but what if the way that the Death Note's acquired is not through traditional means? Like, what if a Shinigami loses a gambling match with a human being and loses his Death Note? I mean, there's totally different, ridiculous ways they could take it. The best thing that they can do now, having the first film be such a failure critically, is go somewhere different, in my opinion. And then with the Duffer Brothers at the helm, that gets me super excited.
Well, the Duffer Brothers have almost single-handedly saved Netflix because Netflix started announcing a bunch of random shit and they started to just bleed subscribers.
Well, yeah,
and then they dropped a couple things.
It was tough because like it's not a buildable service, right? So Netflix, they have monthly subscribers, yeah, but how do you build on that? Like at what point do everybody who has Netflix, right?
Yeah.
Like so then they start talking about bringing up tiers, bringing in ad tiers, and just the stock plummeted after that when people were talking about changing the service around. Even though I think an ad supported tier at a cheaper price for like $6.99 is very viable for people and might get more people Netflix. To the public eye, seeing big changes like that scares stockholders as well as film enthusiasts. So them having such a huge success with Stranger Things and it being so much bigger in comparison to the other streaming shows, Obi-Wan, the whole series of Obi-Wan is as long as the last 2 episodes of Stranger Things.
Yeah.
So you're getting way more content and still having that bingeability by having multiple episodes come out at once. So you're right. The Duffer Brothers really kind of resurrected
and that's
Netflix in a way.
That's also something that I'm hoping they do lend themselves to reviving that live action anime like format because we've got a couple of Netflix things that have like they've announced are coming down the pipipeline, like
the One Piece stuff,
like the Avatar show, like the One Piece show. Like
oh really? I didn't know about that.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
The Avatar show has finished production.
Yeah, which
I think
the
if they
show's
do
done.
it-
Well, they're on post, but like the actual like filming and all that stuff, it's done. The Avatar show is finished.
I think if they do the Death Note thing well, it could be really good.
Yeah, definitely.
because it's like you make a
Right.
horror anthology based around the ideas of Death Note, like that could be so radically like interesting to watch, and I'm hoping that
And then it's not forced into the sphere of YA, right? Because
Yeah.
when you make the Death Note live action movie, or really if they were going to try to tackle the original story at all, the basis of it is a student who's kind of, very mentally smart but lacks any sort of wisdom or, let's be clear, any sort of social morality whatsoever. But mainly it leans towards a YA audience as far as American audiences go. They don't like to see younger characters in serious dramas so much. Even people who love Stranger Things have that argument about it, that it's for like teenagers and stuff. I don't agree with that, but that is an argument.
Yeah.
By taking a total different route, that does possibly make it so they can turn it into whatever they want. And that's what I'm looking for. Like I'm looking for even like genre bending. It's just such an open concept. They could do whatever they wanted with it.
So that's why I was kind of are you scared of this? Are you excited as like the one
Yeah,
that
I'm excited for it. I'm pretty open to like content being made and reinventing old properties. I usually want that stuff to be good. I mean, yeah, it's disappointing when it's not, but I think the Duffer Brothers have really proved themselves with Stranger Things.
Mm-hmm.
And the only
So I'm
way that you're
hopeful.
going to get more things for the thing, like even if, like personally for the One Piece thing being made, like even if I absolutely hate it, if one person watches it and they fall in love with it, and that's just their jam, that's their entry point into that thing that I love, I wish them all the best. Like I want these things to succeed.
Yeah.
Whether or not I find enjoyment out of them, but it is something that I do hope that it can breathe new life into this genre that has been so hated, where everybody always does the like manga, anime, Netflix live action like meme. Like I hope that we can move past that trend and see big leaps and bounds in this. And I think that the Duffer Brothers are probably one of the big ones to step in and make some moves as far as
And
that
also,
goes.
Upside Down Pictures is such a good fucking name
Yeah.
for a production company. I think that is so good. Or Upside Down Productions. That's a great
Yeah.
name for it. Ingenious, you know. So yeah, I feel like our thoughts are kind of out on that. I guess we're just gonna have to wait and see what this will become. It's so early in development. There's really no way to understand what's going to happen with it. But my hopes are for the best, and in general for them to be making more content for Netflix. You know, when they made that first Stranger Things show, there was only one network willing to buy it, and they won't reveal who that network is. But their rule was you can't be a part of directing it. And imagine if Stranger Things wasn't directed by the Duffer Brothers, it wouldn't have been anything it was. So I think it's so important that now they're at the forefront of their content. So we'll just see. It's like the most expensive YouTube channel ever. I love it. Anyway, guys, let us know in the comments what you think about this story with the new live-action Death Note series. Are you excited for it? Are you bummed out by it? Are you just like, oh my god, I'm so sick of adaptations? Or are you somebody who's like, no, an adaptation is viable. I want these franchises to exist forever. There needs to be good and bad iterations of it going forward. Let us know down in the comments below, and make sure to subscribe, baby. Bada bing.